The OpenAI APIs in our application. We will build an application from scratch using node.js on Visual Studio Code and use the OpenAI APIs for that matter. So first and foremost, I open up the VS Code application. So in the VS Code, I'll create a new folder for this. So since there is no new folder under the documents part, I'll create a new folder, and I'm using content summary for this matter, so I'm giving this name only. After creating this new folder, I will open it up here on the VS Code. Now inside the VS Code, I can specify, I can create a new terminal, and in that new terminal I can start with npm init to specify my entry packages. So I'll just keep on entering, these things will automatically happen. Yeah, this creates a package. Now to use the OpenAI resources, I have to install the OpenAI packages. So how to do that? First and foremost, you need to go to the OpenAI's own website, and you have to log in to their website. Now in the website, you'll find API. Under this API, you go to API reference, and you see, to use this you have to install the package of the OpenAI by using this command npm install OpenAI. So going back to the VS Code, I'll write that npm install OpenAI. Just checking the command again. Yeah, it is fine. So by entering this, it will install the OpenAI packages and node modules. Now after this, to get the base code on which we can work, we can get it from the OpenAI's own platform itself. um, by getting to the quick start tutorial. Here they have given a base code for this matter. So there is a repository on the GitHub. Here they have created a base code. So here they have the pages. Inside the pages we have everything. So these things are present there. I have them downloaded in my system. I can open them up in my documents. This is the folder I have created just now using VS Code content summary. Here OpenAI quick start master, that is there, the base code is there. So here you can see in the pages they have organized the things. The index module.css, this is something I will require. I'll take the CSS file from here only. In the pages folder. So let's go back to the VS Code and create this particular folder here, pages. Now in that pages folder, if we go back to the documents and paste this CSS file first, then going back to the VS Code, I have the CSS. Now I can create another folder just to organize the things. I'll create the API folder. Inside that API folder, I'll create a file which will give the API call, and inside the pages folder I'll have the entry file index.js. Now after having organized these things, there are few more things I need from that master code. This public folder has certain icons that I will use, so I can keep them here. And Nothing much. Now I can write my own part of the code here inside content summary itself. So I have the things. Now the index.js. Okay, so to write the index.js according to the lines as they have used, I can take reference from their documentation, and here itself the index.js is written in this documentation. I can take this totally as a reference and I can use them. So they have certain things used, so I'll just take this. Now here I'll make changes according to my case. First and foremost thing is, uh, here this is animal, so animal input, I am trying to give content instead of animal. That's why I'll write animal and I'll give it with content. Change one by one. Okay, now going back, there is usage of other things like the HTML uses a PNG. I'll use my PNG. Here I'll give get summary. I'll save this. After having done this part, the generate portion, I'll have to I'll have to use this generate portion. So how do I get that? Here again I go to the API folder, generate.js, and I just take these things. So actually what is happening here is they are importing their API. So to do that, they use a key, API key. So to use the API key, I have to create a env variable. Now to create an env variable under this content summary, I'll just create an env variable, env. Now no, it's created under API. I'll have to create this variable as beyond this. Dot env. Now inside this env variable, we have to specify the API key. Now API key is something for which you have to pay to OpenAI, something around $5. So this is the env variable they have used, and they have an API key. So what is the API key? I have my API key from my account. I have created one API key. I'll use that API key. So it's saved in my notepad. So this is the API key basically that I am using for my account, and I'll have to save this. Now in the generate.js that we have, I'll make the necessary imports. Now here I have to make changes according to my case. First and foremost, the API key is taken with the Open API key from the environment variable. Now using the process.env.operator. After that, uh, these are some error messages based on their cases. Apart from that, here if they are checking if the content is there or not. If there is no content, then it has to say please enter valid content. So definitely here, instead of animal, I'll use the wording content for my case. Okay. uh, Now in my case, actually what happens is I am trying to take inside the input content, and I am going to give a summary of the content using their API. Now what is the API? Let's check the API first. So to get to the API, we have to go to their website and examples portion. This is a summarize for a second grader. Now this is the prompt. We have to use this prompt in our coding to get the idea. So how to use this prompt and how to take this setting. So we have the code here under node.js. So this is they have given. So the model has to be specified and the prompt has to be given like this, and these are the other data, temperature, and these things. I'll copy these things and simply go back to my code and use these things for the portion they have specified. Here the temperature is there are other parameters that I have to give, and these are the other parameters I am providing. Apart from that, the prompt, I am giving the prompt through a function generate prompt instead of the way they have specified there. Inside the function generate prompt, I can create the prompt here. So first and foremost, I don't need this capitalized part. I just need the content. So here the prompt will start. I'll change accordingly. I go back to their website, and what is the prompt here? Summarize this for a second grade student. So I have to use this. Summarize this for a second grade student. So we will use this prompt, and here instead of the, I will change these things. So we will copy the prompt, total prompt, there it is, and an answer. So example prompt and example answer will be copied from there. So this we will take command C. Content here I'll give, and summary, I'll write summary here instead of names. This I'll give. This I'll take from the sample response. Okay. this here, the content is content, and now the summary has to be specified. This is the complete prompt. After this, I'll save it. So here I am using the API key. The API key is something which is very specific to my account, which I have paid for, and inside this we are using the call of create completion. This model which we are using for this API of OpenAI is text DaVinci 003, and the prompt we are generating here through generate prompt function, and I am passing over the content parameter over there, which will come from the front end. So there is an example prompt given already. This function will return this, and ultimately this will provide us the value. So we save it here. I check the env. Inside the environment variable, I have the key which is specific. We are ready. We have made the things probable changes and everything. We will run two commands. First is npm install to install all these packages which we have, and if they are installed, they are up to date here. So I will run the next one, npm run dev, and this has started the server on the localhost 3000 port. So I'll click on this link, and this will open up my place. So there are certain changes yet which I didn't do, so I'll do them accordingly. So here in the index HTML portion, certain changes I didn't do really. So let's make those changes first. So page title, I'll give the page title as content summary itself. And followed by here write the content, and anything else if it is left, get summary. So here it is. So I'll save this first, and after saving this, if I refresh it on my browser, I'll get the changes. So here it is content summary, and write the content. Now let's write a content. So from the examples, let's find out the examples. Let's write this content first. Jupiter is the fifth planet and all this. So let's take a copy of this, and let's write this content here and get the summary. So the summary is coming. Jupiter is a big and very bright planet. So this is a few lines of summary that is coming. I can write another content. I had actually checked one content here. This I wrote myself. The Earth's axis is tilting towards the east because of excessive groundwater extraction, resulting into the melting of the polar ice caps, thereby redistributing the mass distribution over the Earth's surface, which has resulted into longer days and more insolence, creating more global warming and rapid climate change. This is an alarming situation. Now let's get the summary for this. So this is the summary. The Earth's tilt is changing because of too much water being taken out of the ground. This is making the days longer and causing the climate to change quickly, which is worrying. So this is how the content summary is working. So our application is actually built. Now we can play around with the application with other examples as well by making basic changes to inside the code. Let's start with the grammar correction from these examples. Now, what is this grammar correction prompt? So this is the engine, text DaVinci 003, the same engine they are using. So this is the main part of the API request, which we have it in the code in the generate.js file. So const configuration OpenAI API, which is taking, and the OpenAI API key, which I have specified through the environment variable. Now here the model and temperatures are specified. So accordingly I'll copy this and I'll use the prompt. So first and foremost I'll take the temperature and other parameters and I'll copy them into my code. So let's get back to the code. And inside the generate.js, let's go to those portions where temperature is mentioned. Here I'll change this part for not the content summary. Now I'm taking standardized grammar. Okay, now let's find out what prompt they are using. The prompt is correct this to standard English. Okay, so in my case I am actually organizing it a little differently. That's why I am taking a function call where I am giving the prompt. So generate prompt, inside this content is there, and then this is a function. Inside the function there is the prompt. So instead of this one, summarize this for a second grade student, I'll change this with the prompt here, correct this to standard English, this part of the prompt, and I go back to the code again. Here now I have to use the example prompts actually to proper make it proper. So this one is the example. She no went market. In the code content I'll give it here as a content, and what is the result of this, I'll take it out. Let's see if this works in my way. So she did not go to the market is the response, probable response, expected response. So let's find out if it works my way. So for now, just for a testing purpose, I'm not changing anything, I'm just giving this, and let's see how it happens. Let's just save it and don't and I'm not changing anything else. Instead I'm saving it, and let's see if I give the same idea, same thing, what happens. Mind it, it is not summary anymore. Yes, it is correcting the grammar. Now what I can do, I can change the front end again. So to change the front end, I'll not too many changes, I'll just go to the front part, index.js. Here I'll change the page title, grammar correction. Here I'll give write the sentence. And there is a placeholder, yeah, enter the sentence, and enter the sentence, and nothing else to change. I'll save this file again. After saving this, you will see in the front screen this is changed here. So now I can write anything of wrong English and it will correct the grammar. So he are a boy. Let's check. Oh, I had to change the title of this button as well. Get summary, it is there. So instead of get summary, let's say correct grammar. Correct grammar, and save it again. Whenever I save the file, it automatically changes here. So here a boy, I wrote this. So let's correct the grammar. He is a boy, such a good thing. So she are a girl, they is busy. I'm giving two sentences. Let's see how it corrects. She is a girl, they are busy. So very nice. So this API is also working. So this is how I am using the OpenAI API. I am just going over to those examples, and I'm just taking those API prompts, and I'm just making a specific change in specific part of the code, and this is how the API is working. And now, mind it, to make the call to the API, I need the API key, and for getting the API key, I must have the key generated, view API keys, and here I have my keys. But definitely these are not free. When you are doing the API call, you are using some amount of money. I had subscribed to this for playing around and testing and learning. So I had subscribed with $5 for this month, and till now, with all the basic experimentations what I did, I just got used up by $0.03. So I have a lot to use as of yet, so I can keep doing it. So there are other examples as well. So let's find out other examples. Like we have we have a translation section here. We can translate from English into three languages: French, Spanish, and Japanese. How to do this? Again, we have the prompts here. So what will I do? I will not make many changes in the same code. What will I do? I'll just change the prompt instead of and I'll also change the parameters of temperature, max tokens, these things. So instead of this, let's say I changed it. The prompt is translate this into, I'll say Spanish. Okay, let's change the prompt and see what happens. So this is the last part I will do. I'll just make a change in the generate.js file. So inside the prompt, correct this to standard English. I'll say translate. So what is the prompt? I'll copy that. Translate this into. Going inside the code. Translate this into Spanish. I will not make many changes. I'll just say translate this into Spanish inside the prompt. And let's say, do I need to give examples? Well, even if I give, I can take the example from here itself. What rooms do you have available? So content I can give here. No. And I can copy the result as well. So obviously I'll change it to something meaningful. Instead of content, I'll write translation. Instead of summary, I will write translation. And here I try to get the translation. So I'm taking up a variable of the content. I'm trying to get the translation of that. So again, inside the front screen, enter the sentence and translate to Spanish. I can write translate to Spanish. So this particular API has the feature of translating from English to three languages: English to French, Spanish, and Japanese. So I am leveraging that. So let's change the page title again. Translation. And save this. Save all. So now when I see, say he is a boy, since I know Spanish, that's why I can understand if it is properly translating. Translate to Spanish, what happens? Él es un niño. So this is proper. So let's say simple thing, my name is Himmel. In Spanish it is supposed to be mi nombre es Himmel. Let's see how it happens. Mi nombre es Himmel. So the translation is working fine. So let's write big sentences. The thing I wrote in before, the big one, arts axis thing. Let's translate this. What happens? Yeah. So it's a long translation, but there is some. I feel there is some word limit to it. So let's translate sentences. Let's say, what is Earth called in Spanish? Tierra. That's correct. Uh, Simple in Spanish is sencillo. Slow in Spanish is um, lento. Very right. So, Brotherhood, it is a poem written by a Spanish poet. So, let's find the name of this Hermandad. Exactly, by Octavio Paz, who wrote this poem. Anyway, so the translation device is working fine as well. So this is exactly how the APIs can be leveraged, which are available in OpenAI's examples. So in the same code, I'm just making some basic changes and reusing the same code to create different functionalities like this. This is amazing. So the main change are one thing in the front end, another thing for the API call. Here it is happening. It is importing the configuration, then taking the API key, which obviously can be bought with some money. $5 for a month, a lot of tasks can be done, and then this model which is called DaVinci 003, and it has its own specifications of tokens. Okay, maximum tokens was less, that's why I didn't get a complete value. Let's change the maximum tokens. That is the word limit basically. So for the translation, let's find out what were the maximum tokens. 100. So yeah, so this is about the word limit, right? So I can change the maximum tokens according to my own need. So let's say here it was 60 words. So instead I do it 300. Now obviously it will change. So let's save this file and try to uh, provide that sentence again, that earth wala sentence, the tilting of the earth's axis wala sentence, and let's find if it is coming fully. Yes, it is coming fully because I have increased the word limit now to 300 words. So, el eje de la Tierra se está inclinando hacia el este debido a la extracción excesiva de agua subterránea, lo que provoca el derretimiento de los casquetes polares. This means the Earth's axis is tilting towards the east because more and more groundwater are being extracted, which has caused the polar ice caps to melt and so on. So this is a correct translation into Spanish. This is working totally fine. So this application is marvelous. This API use of this application is marvelous. I mean, this is such a nice thing OpenAI has provided us with, and a lot can be done, a lot can be achieved with these things. So this is how it is. uh, just some basic changes, very easy to go with kind of a thing using node.js. Documentation is provided in the website of OpenAI. Things can be learned from there. Amazing feats can be achieved from there. A lot of examples are there, a lot of possibilities are there. I have not even tried the image generation part. I'll try that as well. Funny images can be generated, useful things can be done. A lot of things are there. Sentiment analysis is as well obviously present there. So a lot of things can be done and achieved. Just, and also playground is there. In the playground you can experiment with things inside. So this is how it is done.